this term, AIOps, has kind of hit the scene. Hoping maybe you can start us off at, kind of a high level, in layman's terms. Can you describe what that is, and kind of what it means to organizations, and how OpsRamp sees AIOps and how OpsRamp's leveraging that technology?
The way I would break it down in layman's terms is, it's intelligence that is reducing the time a human spends on repetitive operational tasks. And what OpsRamp does is really uses AIOps in three main ways. So the first thing that we do with our intelligence, our AIOps, is we correlate those alerts to reduce the overall volume of alerts. Now, we've seen numbers of 95% reduction just from that piece alone. That's part one. The second one is this concept of kind of intelligent routing, intelligent notification. So OpsRamp has intelligence to automate that process. So, an incident takes place, it automatically creates a ticket in the ITSM platform, or it routes an incident to, text Joe or calls whoever it might be. So that intelligence on taking action on these alerts is a critical part of AIOps. The third part is, this idea of kind of self-healing, auto-healing, which is really interesting, where, instead of having an individual reboot a server, teach OpsRamp to do that for you.
That's really been invaluable for us. If you look how events are fed into operations, be able to have some operational efficiency around those, consolidate them, and really drive your event to incident ratios down, so your staff can focus on, every alert's real, but I want to say the meaningful alerts that they need to respond to in order to remediate a critical event that's happening in a customer infrastructure. I think leveraging that piece within the platform and how we utilize it. Now, we may do it a little differently because as an MSP, we have many customers that are feeding events into our operations center, but really OpsRamp is the vehicle and has been the vehicle for us to get those alerts where they need to be, the right alerts, and then take action. So that's
what our customers value, is knowing that alert gets there, and knowing that we've got the workflow and we can meet SLAs. They're not thinking about hundreds of alerts that may be presented to an analyst. They only care about the actual event that comes to them, and the fact that we found that core event, and that we've identified it, we've triaged it, we've notified them, and then we've got a plan of attack. They don't care about the fact that we received 300 alerts. But what is really the engine of AIOps?
The first area is really kind of, the monitoring portion of it. So, the different types of AIOps functions we could do is push monitoring templates to discovered assets to get that, zero time to basic baseline monitoring for the on-prem stuff, as well as, which is easier in the cloud stuff. Other things is, dynamic thresholding. Can we look at the seasonality of these metrics? Can we do delta comparisons of these metrics to give more context of, is this something we should be anticipating or expecting, or can we predict something is going to happen out of it? And then on the other hand, it's kind of the suppression of, can we look at, maintenance windows? Can we look at, the change management and see if there's an open change or recently completed changes that was for this, and, suppress it so we're not getting those kind of noisy events in there. And finally is, the remediation, where a lot of the power is, and where a lot of, when people think of AIOps, it's all about, can you just auto-heal my stuff?
How we utilize the platform is by creating service maps, where we can look at the data flow holistically based on all of the components that are responsible for that application being up and effectively running. So if our NOC receives an event, they can easily go into a dashboard and see what piece of the infrastructure or what application is impacted.
For me, it's very simple to be able to jump back and forth between customers. It's literally a drop-down list that you pick the customer. And then, you've been able to pull in customer infrastructure that they wanted you to pull in. And you can log into those things from OpsRamp. You can look at configuration backups from those things. You can look at trending and alerts and, graphing, things like that of all those devices. And you can, I think Rick mentioned it, that it was, you can really customize the monitoring templates. So if one customer says, I really need to know about this as quickly as possible, whereas another customer says, I don't care about this unless it's down for 30 minutes, that's really easy to customize and do basically whatever the customer wants. It's not, we do it this way and you have to conform to us. It's, we can do whatever you want us to do. if I need to be able to look at AWS and Azure stuff for one customer, I can integrate OpsRamp with those cloud platforms, pull in all the services and pieces that I need to be able to look at, and I can manage everything from one pane of glass.
One CTO told me, I think almost 3 years ago, he said, when I get my cup of coffee at 5 in the morning, I want to go to one place to see the performance of my critical business services. I want to see, is email performance up, or is it degraded in some way? Is my financial application working correctly? That's all I care about as a CTO. I want to know, are my critical business services performing or not? And if they're not, I want to click a button, find out exactly what went wrong, and have it fixed, right? So that next level also cares about visibility. So I think no one just touched on that. Show me everything I have in one place, right? Make sure I know exactly what I'm working with in my whole environment, both on-prem and public clouds, that there's no shadow IT going on, folks on spinning up, VMs in Azure and I don't know about it. I want to see a full picture of everything I have laid out for me in an easy way.
You should have visibility into your assets wherever they are located within your infrastructure, whether it's cloud, whether it's on-prem. Because keep in mind, you still need to monitor performance or failures when they occur and then respond accordingly. The cloud provider is not going to do that for you. And if you're familiar with the cloud and you've heard of the shared responsibility model, and I know it's tied more to the security, but you hear security of the cloud or security in the cloud. Well, what if we were to look at monitoring and management that same way? You have monitoring and management of the cloud, which the provider is going to handle, but who is monitoring and managing in the cloud? Without doing that, there is no way that you can effectively standardize, optimize, or transform the business or the infrastructure and technology that's driving that.
It's easy for someone to say, we don't have to care about that because it's in the cloud and it just works, until there's a problem and they don't know where to go look or how to even begin looking at stuff. And then they come to us and say, well, what happened? And we can say, well, it's in our monitoring, let us go look. And we have this trail of, all the events that have been going on, and we can pinpoint something and say, this happened, this is what caused it, and now here's how we fix it.
And all of this has added a ton of new tools, a ton of new metrics, and an explosion of data. And it's not only is it critical to, hey, can I see everything, but getting everything in one place so I could see it from one place, but also to then allow us to correlate it in other pieces. So we know when that application issue comes over, real quickly, here's the 5 things that are happening on the infrastructure components that support that application.